Silence of the Dans. Dude, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. You know what to do, right? Hit me up on the Discord. I'll get you added, man. Can confirm. the problem here is like one down market day and we're gonna slide 10%. Right? Like they're just gonna slam the shit out of us. Because you see what happens when like the active funds just bleed off, right? Like this isn't even. So the second the active funds kind of the volume dropped off in the SPY, look at our drop in relation to what the SPY is doing right now. And this is just from that reduced buy pressure. So the SPY's not even failing this resistance yet. Not only are we like 2xing the price action of the SPY, but we're also acting as like a leading indicator of active fund movement, which is very odd, right? DRS is working. Gherkin is gonna go full port purple circles. Yeah, no. And DRS isn't the only thing that DRS doesn't bleed liquidity in ETFs. Other things do. So we've talked about like seller exhaustion a lot lately, right? And remember, you know, up until this point, the short side of those ETFs mostly uncontested, right? Through most of last year. Like if you go back and, you know, look at like XRT over the course of the year, you know, up until this point, they just had tons of liquidity, right? Throughout this whole period, really. Just absolute shitloads of liquidity. And they squeezed off a bunch of shorts here in like late October before they started really using XRT to short GME hard. And ever since then, you know, the market has downturned as well. It's like 40% down, some crazy shit. It's lost trillions in like overall valuation. And that means that, you know, other shorts are coming in, right? Other people are interested in the downside as it keeps moving down, which then compromises their liquidity in the ETF. Right? Because now all of a sudden they have to compete with other APs, right? Other APs are coming in and they're like, we want shares of this and we want shares of that. And, you know, they're trying to go in there and get GameStop, but all the shares are being pulled out of the ETF by other short sellers in other parts of the market. And now all of a sudden they need to compete for those shorts where they didn't have to before. And this can rapidly dry up the liquidity in these ETFs. And then where do they go for their GameStop shares, right? There's not a lot of options beyond that point. They can turn to the market maker, but that's limited. They can start clearing their FTDs sort of with in the money calls and using reversals, but that's tying up huge amounts of capital, right? Like, you know, like those reversal trades they're in like a net zero position, right? Or, you know, at best, slightly positive, maybe even slightly negative due to arbitrage. But essentially, the trade should be zero. It should zero out. This is ideal. And but the problem is, you know, you've got to tie up $10 million at a time to keep fucking exercising these in the money options. And it stops the FTDs, like it clears the FTDs out. But they're going to come right back. And then you've got to do it again. And so now they've got, you know, a large amounts of capital starting to be tied up trying to clear out these FTDs because they're not getting sufficient liquidity from the ETFs. You know, back in November, I discussed a lot of this stuff happening, and it was very early, I suppose. No, you know, now in hindsight, but we're starting to see the things happening with the increasing FTDs on GameStop that I've been wanting to happen since November, right? It took a while, but we finally starting to reach that juncture. Now, I'm not saying like MOASS is back on the table because of that, but the likelihood of a squeeze is increasing. What do you got for me, Bear Bull Cat? Midday update. Shorting this morning, which led to put buying. Calls jumped in at 10, but took profits, and puts took profits. Call sign seems to be dying off, and likely puts will slam it back down through the rest of the day. Yeah, we're seeing the same flow and on like the ETF liquidity side too. Degenerates piled into zero delta contracts, then bailed on them plus extra. Beautiful.